Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sippin and Selling
with Joey Chanel. Welcome back to Sippin and Selling, everybody. Today's guest and I have known each other for a very long time. He's known as the modern mixologist, Tony Abuganan. He's here Zooming with us from Las Vegas. Welcome to the show, Tony.
Joey, thank you. It's great to be on with you.
Thank you. I'm so excited to have you on. You have the best setup of them all. Gorgeous kitchen. We're going to have some fun today. I know you sent me this beautiful Negroni set. So we're going to do my first cocktail ever experience on the show. So I'm excited to pass that test with the one and only. You are the man. You have so many amazing attributes and achievements and stories. But I feel like we have to start with your ultimate joke that you always like to say. Otherwise, we're not doing the traditional interview with Tony. So here we go. I'm queuing you up. How long have you been behind bars?
Well, Joy, I have spent the last 45 years of my life behind bars. The funny thing about that joke is I started telling it when it was 25 years behind bars, and I'm not sure where the last 20 years have gone, but it's been a great ride, that's for sure.
That's wonderful. And you haven't changed a bit. You've always been super happy, super positive, always very passionate about what you do. I was talking with you a little bit before when we were getting everything together for the show and saying that I believe we met either at South Beach Food and Wine Festival when maybe you were doing a book signing, or possibly at Tales of the Cocktail, maybe judging. You just do it all. I feel like you have been on a lot of different shows, a lot of podcasts, and I wanted to make sure that we covered all the topics that were important to you, of course. But I also did want to shake it up a little bit, pun intended, and make it a little bit more fun. And so I wanted to bring some Joey Chanel pizzazz. I was making a joke that I wore my sequins for you because you're in Las Vegas. So let's start there. You're not from Las Vegas. If I remember correctly, you're from Michigan. Is that correct?
That is correct, Joey. I grew up in Michigan. I grew up in a hospitality environment. On my mom's side of the family, we owned a bakery. She had French's Bakery. That was her parents. And on my father's side, Helen had the Brass Rail Bar. So I was a chubby little drunk kid running around our house. But it was a great environment to grow up in, and a really established an appreciation for what this business really boils down to, and that's hospitality. And you can go to the best bar and the fanciest cocktails, but if the bartender doesn't greet you with a warm smile and a handshake, and knows what the Knights did last night and how the stock market's doing, and that this is my girlfriend and not my wife, I mean, that is a great bar, a great bartender. May not have any idea how to make a Negroni.
But they know your name, so that's important.
And I think Dale said it best once when he said, I don't go to bars, I go to bartenders. And I really believe that, because as you and I are going to find out here, hopefully very shortly, is that we can make probably a better Negroni at home, or at least as good of a Negroni at home. So why go to the bar? Because you can't have that interaction alone in your kitchen. We can do it over Zoom. It's great, but that's, like I said, Dale said it best. I go to bartenders, not bars. And a great bartender embraces hospitality, and that's something that Helen instilled in me when she first put me behind the bar 45 years ago at the Brass Rail. She said, I treat my customers at the Brass Rail like I do friends and family in my home. And that has stuck with me all these years. And I think that is the most crucial element in hospitality.
Absolutely. Helen, I know the story about Helen, but for the audience members that maybe haven't tuned into any of your previous shows, please explain who this wonderful woman was, why she's such a big part of your story.
Well, Helen was my cousin, but growing up it was always Aunt Helen out of respect. And when I became an adult, discovered that she was actually my cousin. And her and her mother opened the Brass Rail Bar in Port Huron, Michigan in 1937.
Wow.
Joey, if you can even kind of picture women being in bars in 1937, let alone running a bar. She was 21. Her father had just passed away, left her and her mother an ice cream parlor, sweet shop in Michigan. And it was the Great Depression. So you can imagine what little money, extra money you had, you probably weren't spending on ice cream sundae.
Right.
But what did everyone have a little extra scratch for? Bottle of beer, slug of whiskey. But again, it was that ability to walk through the door and escape for a
Right.
couple hours. Again, boiling down to hospitality. So yeah, so she taught me to be a bartender in 1980, made my first drink there. And the beautiful thing is, Joey, that we're going full circle. I was just able to buy back the Brass Rail in Port Huron, and we're going to reopen it June 15th, which is 89 years to the day from when Helen first opened the bar.
That's incredible. And that day is special to me. That's my mom's birthday. May she rest in peace. So that's pretty special. I will remember that date for sure. What a beautiful, homage to her. That's amazing.
Well, I think that's so important. Tradition is so important. She does, well, we'll be doing Tom and Jerry's starting on the 21st of this month, just for 6 weeks, because I want everyone to be able to come in, see the bar one last time, and share in Helen's Tom and Jerry. It's a traditional wintertime dram. It's a holiday. It's festive. It's funny, Joey. One of the last times before Helen passed, I was at the bar and I was helping make Tom and Jerry's, and I looked down at this table, and there were 3 generations of a family. There were the kids, the parents, and the grandparents, and they were all just, enjoying the Tom and Jerry, paying their respects to Helen. Nobody on a cell phone tweeting or
Nice.
they were just enjoying themselves, the company, and the festivities of the Brass Rail. And a great tradition, be it a drink, brings people together. So it's that important to me. Listen, after 45 years behind bars, Joey, I'm should be thinking about retiring, not opening a bar.
But listen, why not?
It's the best retirement, because getting back to what I said earlier, my favorite. There's the watchdogs.
Oh, I don't even hear them, but they're welcome to join. I love me some pets.
They're ready for their Negronis, I think.
Hilarious. I love it. So you were saying, I think that let's pause for 2 seconds, because some people don't know what a Tom and Jerry cocktail is. So why don't we give a little bit about the recipe, because it's unique and it's not something that everybody could master.
No, and that's why no one really makes them anymore, because it's labor intensive to do them right. It's an egg batter. It's really like a warm eggnog, where you separate a dozen eggs, yolks and whites. You froth up the whites with a little cream of tartar. You cream the yolks. Then you blend those together, add some powdered sugar, and that's your batter. To that, you add rum and brandy in a hot mug, top it with hot water or hot milk, grate a little nutmeg on top, and just sit back and smile. It's like drinking a cloud.
I love that. But it's a labor of love for sure. I think most people wouldn't go that far. If it's not as simple as just pouring it in the glass over ice, they quit and they go to their favorite bar where they feel hospitable, and that's it.
No, Helen would say, we do more business in those 6 weeks leading up to New Year's Day than we do the rest of the year, because people that only come in once or twice a year always come at the holidays.
Yeah.
And it's festive in there. There's lights, there's decorations, and there, Helen would sit at the end of the bar and greet everyone and welcome them and wish them a happy holiday. And it was a tradition. People would say the holidays aren't properly celebrated without a Tom and Jerry at the Brass Rail. So
I love that.
we're going to
That's
keep
amazing.
that tradition going. Yeah, thanks.
Was that the first cocktail that she taught you how to make, or no?
Nope. I remember like it was yesterday. Helen was born in the apartment above the bar, lived there her entire life. So she would go out, and when she'd come home, she'd stop at the bar and check in and see how the night went. And occasionally she'd have a B&B. And that was the first drink she taught me to make, not the bottled B&B, but where you put Benedictine in a little Pousse Café glass and
Uh-huh.
then layer the cognac on top of that. And that was the first drink that she taught me. And still to this day, that's the way I like to make a B&B.
Wonderful. I love that. I haven't had one, so I'm going to have to come to the Brass Rail and I'm going to have to try one. June 15th, right? Look
What's
out.
that? June 15th. Well, again, we're opening on the 21st of this month just for 6 weeks,
Right.
just to celebrate Tom and Jerry season. Let guests come in and see the bar one last time. What we're planning to do with the renovations is bring back as much of the 1937 feel as we can. I have no idea what's under the carpet. The
Okay.
Brass Rail was the first restaurant in Michigan to have wall-to-wall carpeting.
Wow.
It's still there. We got to.
Yeah, you don't know what's under there for sure, but I'm sure it's going to be beautiful. And like I said, if you have that passion and you know that love in your heart for her and the story and keeping it alive, just you're going to feel that within all those walls. So I wish you well, and that's amazing. Such a great story to share. Thank you so much, Tony.
Well, Joan, maybe you can bring the show to Michigan and we'll have a cocktail at the Brass Rail, give you a little tour of all the memorabilia, everything, the accomplishments that Helen, she was known as the first lady of Michigan, of Port Huron, Michigan. And
Wow.
yeah, so I think you'd feel her energy in there as well.
I love that. She sounds incredible. And you started a foundation for her, right?
In her memory, Helen survived breast cancer twice in her life at a time when that was rare. You know, it was usually a death sentence when you got diagnosed then with breast cancer. And she was a big advocate to giving back. She always instilled in that, you know, it's better to give than to take, and you'll be remembered for that. And, you know, a lot of people probably, I think if you went back, you probably wouldn't find another woman who ran a bar in the same location for almost 70 years. She was just shy of her 70th anniversary when she passed at 91.
Wow.
So, you know, to keep that memory alive and you know, focus on this important woman and her contributions to our profession, and then to give back and to help. I started the Helen David Relief Fund, which benefits bartenders and their families going through cancer treatment. We started in 2010, and to date, we've helped over 100 families around the country that are dealing with cancer. And we help with the incidental expenses. You know, the rent has to be paid, your co-payment, you know, you maybe, those are the things that we're able to help with. And if you're working in this industry, you're a bartender, it's through the United States Bartenders Guild, but you don't have to be a USBG member to apply. You can go to the website and file an application. I get a little
Yeah, it's emotional.
Yeah.
I don't know one person in my world, at least, that hasn't been affected by some sort of cancer, especially breast cancer. And like you said, it was a death sentence back then. My grandma herself, she had it and she opted to just have surgery. And, you know, that was very progressive back then because she was in her 80s and she, you know, it was risky. But it is a very beautiful cause that you started in her honor, and I think that is so amazing. And everybody who's listening, please check it out. If you feel the need to donate, please do so. It'll help so many families in need. Like I said, I don't know anybody. I just had another family member go through it and beat it twice as well. And it's just, the journey's just never over. You know, you're always worried for every next check. So I think that's really, really beautiful, Tony, that's how you're also honoring your cousin, aunt, whatever you want to call her, loved one, because that keeps her memory alive, and giving back is better than anything else in the world. Paying it forward is just something so beautiful about life. And I appreciate you sharing her message and her story, and thank you so much for doing that because it's a really incredible story.
Thank you. Yeah, she was an incredible woman. She was really special.
No. I feel that. I feel that, and I don't even know her, so I love that. You're doing a great job as a great family member, keeping her story alive. And I'm so excited that she gave you the bug, you know, the hospitality bug, bartender bug, whatever you want to call it.
I tell you, she at first was hesitant because in 1980, bartending wasn't quite the profession and career to aspire to that it is today.
Right.
You know, people would ask me what I do for a living. I said, I'm a bartender. I'd get all excited and animated. And the next question would always be, so what do you want to do? I don't know, having a pretty good time being a bartender. And so I listened to that, and I went to school. I got a degree in business. I was a stockbroker for a short period of time.
Wow.
All the time bartending, still bartending. I couldn't get away from him. Acting, I have a theatrical background. I don't know if anybody recognizes me, but 1993, the Alka-Seltzer Plus cold and flu guy.
Wow. I didn't realize I had such a big celebrity on this show. I'm so excited to welcome you, Mr. Alka-Seltzer Man.
That's why he looked familiar.
Yeah, no. So it was, but the whole time I bartended. I moved to New York, tried to work on Broadway, and I bartended. I'm Las Vegas, San Francisco, but it's always been about the bar. And I realized I had that aha moment in New York City in 1993 where I was sitting at the Rainbow Room. Mario said, you got to go up and meet this cat, Dale DeGroff, at the Rainbow Room. He's doing some really cool stuff with drinks. And so I went up and I sat at the bar and I watched Dale work, and he made me a Negroni. And back in 1993, it was rare that anyone knew how to make a Negroni or even what a Negroni was. But he made me a Negroni, and I watched him work, and I watched the clients watching him work and his interaction, and that light bulb went off. And I said, here I am in New York. I'm trying to pursue an acting career, which is you have very little control over.
Absolutely.
And here's a profession that I do have control over. So from that day on, I just set out to be the best bartender. And in 93, you couldn't Google things. You had to get the old books. And it's just been a fantastic journey. And became dear friends, and to this day with Dale. And he was actually the gentleman who recommended me to Steve Wynn for the position at the Bellagio in 1998 that really changed my life. So
wow. And that's how you got to Vegas?
Yeah. It's a funny story. George Goldhoff had worked with Dale at the Rainbow Room, and he was director of restaurants for Steve Wynn at the soon-to-be open Bellagio. And they were looking for somebody, somebody that was doing cocktails. Because remember, even in 98, things were just starting to turn fresh. And we were resurrecting lost and forgotten classics and writing cocktail menus and creating drinks. So he calls Dale, and Dale obviously wasn't going to move to Las Vegas, but he said, there's this cat in Las Vegas or in San Francisco who's doing some interesting things with Harry Denton at the Starlight Room. Why don't you get a hold of him? And I remember getting a call, and they said, we'd like to fly you out to Las Vegas. And I thought, Las Vegas?
Yeah.
Really? And I went, and I was just like, I've got to be part of this. And it was amazing. And I thought I'd stay a couple years and go back to San Francisco. And as you can see, I'm still here 27 years later.
It's where you belong. You suit it. I mean, now hearing about the acting too, that makes a lot of sense. But you're just so personable. You're everybody's mixologist, bartender, whatever you want to be called these days. And I'm so excited to get a lesson from you. So let's make my first Negroni with Tony.
You think it's a coincidence that it rhymes?
No. And my husband's Tony. I must only hang out with you guys. Only people who end in Y.
I love it. I love it. Well, Negroni is a drink I discovered quite by accident in 1991 when we were opening Harry Denton's on Stewart Street, and David O'Malley, who was a very forward-thinking GM, you didn't get a cocktail menu, but he had a placemat, and on the placemat were 4 classic drinks, and one of them was a Negroni, and I was like, heck's a Negroni? And so we did a tasting. Don't tell anyone this, but the first time I tasted a Negroni, I spit it out.
Yeah.
I was like, it's supposed to taste like this? I think it's gone bad. But they say that even the Italians have to try it 3 times before falling in love. And once you do, it's a love affair that lasts forever.
I love it. So what do I need that I'm missing? Anything, or am I set here?
It looks like you're good. You got the Negroni set, and I sent you a commemorative beaker. Now, these tools are from my professional line, the Modern Mixologist line of tools.
Yes, beautiful.
what we would do for the Helen David, we would do for the love of cocktails. I'm not sure which one.
That's the one I
sent.
have with the May 18th date, 2018, the 5th anniversary.
Okay, I've got the February 13th date,
Ooh.
2015. So that must have been a much earlier one.
Love it.
We had these done for all the bartenders that volunteered their time to come up and help raise money for the Helen David. So don't
Beautiful.
break it. You probably have one of my jiggers.
I do.
Okay, so the small cone is actually called a pony, and it measures 1 ounce.
Okay, what am I putting in there? What do you got there?
I've got the gin. I'm using Citadel.
I have gin. I have Tanqueray.
All right. Tanqueray classic London dry style gin.
Okay.
So we go all the way to the top of the beaker. So almost like you have a meniscus.
Okay.
And then just right into the beaker itself.
Check one.
And check one. Again, very simple recipe is 1-1-1. And Joey, you know, when you go back and study the classics, most of them are really simple drinks. 3, maybe 4 ingredients. The quintessential cocktail, the martini, gin and vermouth.
Keeping with my pony, right? And now I'm moving on to the vermouth?
Yep.
Okay.
And using a sweet Italian vermouth.
I'm using martini, of course.
I love martini. I've got a Carpano Antica, a little bit bolder.
It's a beautiful label.
Yeah, that was the original sweet vermouth. Vermouth came from Italy originally, and when you started getting the French vermouth or the dry style, you'll see in the old books referred to as Italian vermouth, meaning sweet, or French vermouth, meaning dry. Now, obviously, you know, both countries make both versions, but...
Okay. And now the star of the show, the Campari.
The star of the show. I have a saying, no Campari, no Negroni.
Okay, I like it. We're staying with the pony, right? All 1-1-1.
1-1-1, yeah.
Okay. In the beaker it goes. And makes the color so much more beautiful.
All right. Now we want to add some ice. I've got some beautiful 1x1 cubes.
I have a sphere that started to melt the water. I should get the water out of here, right? Hold on.
Yes, I've done the same thing.
Let's see if I can do it with your little beautiful tool you gave me with this small glass. Here we go, guys. This is when it goes bad. I'm going to try to filter out the water. I did it. Perfect.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I passed the test. Okay, so I have a
small glass.
Okay, perfect. Am I pouring this in there now, or you want the ice in the beaker?
Ice goes into the beaker.
Okay.
Because we're gonna chill and dilute the drink first.
Okay. Got it.
You have the modern mixologist 24-degree bar spoon.
I do. It's very fancy.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I remember you have another quote about this from Helen. 20, how many stirs to the right?
20 times to the right and 20 times to the left.
Okay. I'm about halfway there on the right. Getting my exercise, Ben.
So yeah, you want about 20% dilution coming from this ice.
Okay.
All right. And then we're going to strain that over a cube.
Okay, I got to get another cube from the freezer. I'm going to use assistance from Ben.
Okay.
I have a bag of spheres in the freezer, sir. Please.
It's nice that you have a bar back. That's great.
I've got a producer who moonlights as my bar back.
I love that.
You know, isn't that funny? Now the grocery stores here in Florida, and I'm sure other markets, I've seen it in Texas, sell the sphere ice. Can you believe that?
I love that.
Isn't it great?
It's great because once you...
Thank you, sir. I'm not gonna use my hand. I'm just gonna put it in. I'm gonna show this bag. It's so cool. Have you seen this Lux Ice?
I do. I have seen that.
Here we go. A free advertisement.
There you go. They'll become a sponsor. But once you've experienced ice like this, it's hard to go back to the stuff that your freezer makes.
I know.
That white, soft.
Right.
And it doesn't taste good. It doesn't look good.
Okay.
All right, so
what is this called?
This is a Hawthorne strainer.
Okay.
This is a julep strainer. I don't think I sent you the julep.
Nope, that's what I want to know. So this is the Hawthorne. It looks like a cat to me.
It's named after the gentleman who invented it. And the way it works is we're going to go in with the spring side into the beaker with the gate facing the spout.
Oh yeah, look at that. It squishes.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Squishes. And then one finger on top, and then the pinky out, always with a pinky out and a smile.
Okay. Cheese. All right, here we go.
The anticipation, Joey.
I'm so proud of myself that I just did this. You're a good teacher. And we have something else I assumed we'd need. Do we need a nice Florida navel?
We need a nice Florida navel, which I have right here. Do you have a peeler?
I do. I have a peeler.
Okay.
The planner.
Now, be very careful with that because it's very sharp. I learned this the hard way the first time I did Iron Chef America. 5 minutes into the battle, I'm peeling some ginger with a Y peeler. Clip the tip of my thumb.
Oof.
Blood is, you would have thought I hit a major artery.
Oh my gosh. So tell me the right way to do it so that doesn't happen.
Starting at the top with a firm hold of the navel.
Okay.
Just slowly pull it towards you. All right.
Now I'm all scared.
No, don't be scared.
I don't know if my peeler likes me, but I got something happening. I'm going as slow. Slow is fast enough for me right now.
Well, I'll have to get you a modern mixologist.
Yes, this is just, one of those bartender giveaways that I got. It's not ideal, but I've got enough of a peel, I think, here.
I think it looks good.
Oops, well, I just broke half of one.
Oh, I can smell that oil already.
And am I putting the oil over the top?
Yep. You want to expel those oils over the top of the drink, and they should. Look at them dancing.
Delicious.
On that Negroni.
And then this is gonna go inside, correct?
And then we're just gonna.
I'm blocking my glass. How dare you?
And
there.
When you're enjoying a cocktail, you enjoy it with all your senses. So how it looks, how it feels in your hand, the aroma of it, obviously the taste, but we have to do this virtually, how the drink sounds.
What's your favorite cheers? Do you have a toast that your go-to is?
I have two. Helen would very simply, and I've kept this alive the best I can, she would just wish people happiness. Aww. Very simply. This is my toast.
Let me hear it.
In the presence of a well-made Negroni, taut nerves relax, taut muscles relax, eyes brighten, friendships deepen, and the whole world becomes a better place in which to live.
Wow, that's beautiful. Salute. Here we go.
Here we go.
I don't want to spit it out, Tony.
Yay.
I very much like this Negroni.
This your first one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Joey, I am doubly flattered that it's your first.
It's my first one. Everybody's tried to have me try them when I've visited, Italy with my husband when we got engaged. Absolutely not. Because like you said, Campari's a little bit of a scary, well, you didn't say scary, I'll say it. It's a very strong spirit. And usually what I like to drink is very soft. I'm a Prosecco girl, or maybe once in a while a little bit of a light tequila mix. So this is my first real big girl cocktail, and I like it.
Happiness. I'm like I said, doubly honored and quite thrilled that you made it and love it. So,
I do love it. I had 3 sips already, and I want to keep sipping. It's delicious. I obviously love the notes of the orange. What is giving it this smoky feel?
Well, you're using, which Tanqueray are you using there? Is it the 10?
I think so.
I mean, you probably.
It just says the Tanqueray. It's the dry gin. It doesn't have an age on it, but you think it's that? I'm getting some botanicals.
And that's a very straightforward, juniper forward style
Mm.
gin. I love that gin. Um, you might be getting a little bit from the herbs coming out of the Martini and Rossi, but I think you probably it's the juniper. And it's
Yes.
funny how different gins are going to give you a different overall flavor profile.
Mm.
I wrote an article once on the Negroni years ago, and I had to make like 100 different Negronis with different gins and different vermouths, but always Campari, and it was amazing to see how they differ.
Open up. The notes
Yeah.
open up for sure. All different gin distillations and
Hmm.
varietals of the botanicals for sure have to change on each person's palate. And I've talked about this on other episodes. If you drank coffee before, which I did, it might have changed my palate a little bit. But I do really enjoy this cocktail, and I'm so happy that I got a lesson from the modern mixologist. I know how to make it perfect now. And I think I've heard you speak about this before, that it's very important about the vessel. The glass makes the difference. We were talking about the ice, how that for sure makes the difference. What else would you like to talk about when we're doing mixology at home to elevate people's experiences that you've found?
Well, I think you off to a great start. Paying attention to the details. The details. You don't have to use like 20 esoteric ingredients.
Hmm.
Seems almost today like bartenders are trying to outgeek one another, and how weird of things can I use. Simplicity. Like I said earlier, most of the classics, three, maybe four ingredients. The choice of those ingredients, how they're brought together, having a great set of bar tools at home, it,
Hmm.
it, it makes the job so much easier, but it's also fun. And we love to entertain. And I can't tell you how many people, oh, you taught me how to make Manhattans. I had friends over, we made Manhattans. I got out my bar tools, set everything up. Ambiance,
Mm.
lighting, decoration, music, setting the mood. Um, I'm working on a project right now with Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines. They're one of my clients, and we're looking at classic Hollywood, and you go back and study, and everyone's dressed, and everyone's got a martini in their hand.
Love
It,
that.
there's a romance to cocktails that you just don't get with a beer or a glass of wine.
Hmm.
And knowing these histories, but I think those are the things. Like I said, I always say never underestimate the importance of a garnish. Don't
Mm.
don't have warm olives if you're serving martinis.
Right.
Have some of Filthy Daniel.
Yeah, of course
Filthy
I
Foods.
do.
Oh, love his stuff.
So good.
It can bring the overall experience down to the least common denominator, which can be the garnish. Which one of
Hmm.
the things you said was, "Oh, I'm getting the notes of the orange."
Right.
Imagine the drink without that.
No, you need it.
You
It
need that.
elevated it for sure. And like you said, the senses are important when you're tasting a cocktail or eating or whatever, So it's definitely a very important part of the experience. Are there any garnishes that you think that have come along in the days that are just silly, that you're like, that's unnecessary? Or maybe just they all have a moment and a place that makes sense maybe here and there? For example, do you like all of the gold flakes or the edible glitter? I was going to ask you a question about what your favorite items are to garnish with your cocktails, but do you think those belong on the bar, or is that just for like bachelorette parties?
No, I have this theory. If it improves the drink, then it makes sense. I
Okay.
used to be anti-smoked cocktails,
Mm-hmm.
and then I started playing around with it a little bit with different types of wood. And we did a drink at Allegiant Stadium where the Raiders play, and it's a Jack Daniels based drink, and we smoked it. And I get a little anal with this if I'm going to do it. So I tried four different woods to smoke it with, and the wood that worked the best was an old Jack Daniels barrel that was, shaved down into chips.
Wow.
So, we then it incorporated a story of this whiskey was aged in this barrel, and then we smoked the final cocktail with that barrel.
Yeah, it's full
So,
circle. Love
yeah.
that.
Um, thing that dehydrated garnishes, I've
Okay.
really come around on those
Mm-hmm.
because trying to be as sustainable as possible. I try to use everything. And a lot of times garnishes, if I cut this garnish today, I'm not going to use it tomorrow. So with dehydrated, it gives me an opportunity to utilize fruit that maybe would be wasted, and I'll get 6 months shelf life out of it. So, and it looks really.
Yeah, they look beautiful for sure. I love adding just like a dehydrated lime or something to a cocktail. We do that in the samplings with my brands. It just elevates the experience like we're talking about. It's important. I was talking to you a little bit about how you're also an author. I know that you had written 2 books. You're working on your 3rd. Can you share a little bit about that?
Well, I've been, again, I want this to be more of a storybook, kind of my 45 years behind bars. It started off as my 40 years behind bars, but it's taking a little longer. And I'm glad it has, because the title was Drinking with My Friends, and telling stories of, like I just told the story about my first Negroni. That'll be in the book. And talk about some of these people like Dale and Julie Reiner and some of the experience I've had with them. And then the Brass Rail project came up, and I started writing the new menu for the Brass Rail. And I was like, I'm going to incorporate all of this into Drinking with My Friends at the Brass Rail. And it'll really be a celebration of the cocktails that we serve there with these stories. Like on my 18th birthday, and when the drinking age was 18 in Michigan, my mom and dad took me to the Brass Rail, and my cousin Tony was behind the bar. And in my honor, he made me virtually every classic drink. A Tom Collins with the little plastic mermaid, which I'm going to get those back, with the frosted, a sidecar, and a Manhattan. And for whatever reason, it was that Manhattan that made me fall in love, not only with the drink, but with this whole concept, this whole art of hospitality and bartending. And that was the moment. I didn't know it at the time, but that really was the moment that decided I would be a bartender.
Wow. I love that. That's so nice, Tony. You just, whenever you speak, you just feel the passion exuding through you. And I love that. I feel like even if you just wanted to aspire about potentially having this happen, the hard part is actually doing it, putting your I don't want to say any bad words on this show, but your money where your mouth is. And it's really, like you said, most people would probably look at you and be like, haven't you done enough? Or you should retire or whatever, but why? Life is so short and it goes by so fast. Like you said, you used to tell this joke about being behind bars for 25 years. Now we're 45 years in. And why wouldn't you just continue to have that joy exude out, and maybe your story, someone listening to the show today, will inspire them, even if it's the simplest thing, as maybe starting something much smaller on a scale, and then eventually in 25 years it will be their own bar or restaurant. I think that is super important, because most people don't just jump it all in, And like you said, you've had a lot of opportunities come your way. You've had a lot of beautiful people come in your life, and maybe you feel like just because of that recommendation, that changed your life. And I think that's what's really important about what I'm trying to talk about on the show. Like I shared in the beginning, you and I met at probably South Beach Food and Wine when you were signing one of your books. And I just went up to you because I knew who you were, because how could you not? You can't talk about mixology without talking about Tony. And I wanted to introduce myself to you. And like I said, I believe you had been working with one of my family Italian products back then, and I wanted to thank you. And here we are years later, and I asked you to come on the show, and you did. And I just think that a big part of life is correspondence and maintaining relationships and continuing these stories and sharing them, because you'll inspire someone. And hopefully today your story inspired some people listening to either go visit Michigan, or maybe try a Negroni, or go visit Vegas and see Tony. Where are you today? Are you still over at the Bellagio, or are you somewhere else?
No, right now my main place is T-Mobile Arena,
Oh,
where the
wow.
Golden Knights, the world
That's
champion.
across from the Park MGM?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So I do all the cocktails there.
Wow.
Did the cocktails at Allegiant Stadium for the Raiders. Was partners with Chef Sean McLean at Libertine Social. We just completed our 10-year there at Mandalay Bay. That was an amazing run. And now I'm trying to do less, which is why I bought the brass rail. It's so funny. You're absolutely right. I don't look at. I often say, Joy, that I would not work this hard at a job if I didn't just. Even my family, like, why are you taking on another? Because I love it. I truly, from the bottom of my heart, feel so flattered when someone comes in and has one of my drinks and we get to interact and to see their face light up. And I did a guest shift yesterday and I made La Madrina Pisco punches. And it just, I forget how much I miss being behind the bar, that interaction with the guest and watching their reaction. Well, before we leave, we have to try this rum.
Yes, we'll try Cask 420. I appreciate that. I hope you like and don't spit it out and have to try it 3 times.
Well, Joe, you know that on the cover of my first book, The Modern Mixologist, is probably my best known cocktail.
I know that, but share it with everybody what it is.
It's called a cable car. It actually next year is going to be the 30th anniversary of the creation of the cable car at Harry Denton's Starlight Room in San Francisco, where our kind of tag phrase was the Starlight Room, between the stars and the cable cars.
That's cool.
And so it was really one of the first original cocktails. And as Mencken once wrote, he said, there'll never again be a totally original cocktail creation, just variations on drinks that have come before it. And this was really inspired by the brandy Crusta, which in 1996, if you weren't reading the old books, you would have had no idea what that drink is.
Right.
And it featured spiced rum. So I was going to make one on the show with you, but I thought I want to taste the rum with you live.
Neat. Yeah, you got to taste it neat. So here we go. This is no pressure at all, everybody. Tony is going to review Cask 420, the hemp-infused spiced rum. As I've said on the show multiple times, it has no psychoactive effects, no sativa. Nothing's going to make him feel silly inside, just warm and fuzzy because it's a spiced rum from Puerto Rico.
Which, again, Puerto Rican light-bodied rums, love Puerto Rican rum. I sent you, Joey, one of my tasting glasses. These are the glasses that we designed for the TAG Global Spirits Awards. Myself, Julio Bermejo, and Dave Grapschi sat at that table over there for a weekend, tasted every spirit in every glass I could get my hands on, and we designed this as a universal tasting glass.
It's gorgeous. Thank you so much for sending it. It's beautiful.
Well, you need to try your rum in this glass, and then just pour a little in a rocks glass and just see how it performs. That's, I say no more. Let me get my nose in here.
I love it.
So I'm getting a vanilla, cinnamon.
Yep, for sure, cinnamon.
Yeah, like freshly grated or ground cinnamon. Is there some clove?
Yes, my dad loves clove. He actually puts it in his mouth at night and he like swirls it around. He swears it's like helps with your immune system.
I'm going to try that.
Try
does
it.
It help him sleep? Is that why he does it at night? Is it?
Yes, it does. It helps him sleep and stay asleep, apparently. It helps with all of your immunities. I don't know. He likes to go to Google a lot.
All right.
All right. Well, cheers. Salute.
All right. Happiness.
I love
the
it.
Texture. Oh. I'm not sure I'm getting hemp seed, but
it's not the first note for sure. I always feel the spice and the warmth.
The spice, the warmth, and I believe it's what, 35 ABV?
Yep,
So
you know.
Nicely balanced. It's not but it's nice and warm, like a hug on the inside. I like that.
Thank you. I like it too because, you know, like I said, I don't like anything strong. I don't like to drink anything unmixed if I don't have to, but I can sip on this, neat or with rocks.
No, it's got a lovely balance. There's a natural sweetness to it that's balanced, like I said.
Thank you.
Nice acidity coming in the back. I'm getting that nice drip, which is great as a foundation in cocktails, as well as drinking it just like this, which who would have thought, years ago we'd be sitting around sipping spiced rum. It's
Isn't
beautiful.
it funny?
I can't wait to make it into a cable car.
I love that. You're going to have to send me a picture or FaceTime me.
And that's getting back to the garnish thing. You know, I think when I look at garnishing a drink, I like to tie in the garnish with the ingredients in the drink. So for the cable car, we do a cinnamon and sugar rim to kind of tie in with the cinnamon notes of the rum itself. And then a spiral of orange to get those orange oils, which again ties in with the orange curacao. And I almost pick up a little bit of citrus on this.
Do you?
Yeah, I like sweet orange.
Maybe it's sitting from the Negroni on the tongue.
That
could be.
You should actually make a Negroni with this in place.
Okay. I'm going to try that later tonight.
I love your style.
Thanks, Tony. I love yours too. You're such a pleasure. You're just happiness. That's what I'm taking away for today. I'm going to just keep telling everybody, pay it forward, smile. Everything is happiness. Your happiness on the Zoom call, happiness in a glass. I appreciate all the years of friendship. And thank you for supporting me and coming on today.
Well, I'm going to make me a promise that we will shoot a show from the brass rail after we reopen in June of next year.
I love that. I promise. And I'm probably going to make it during football season because that's my other guilty pleasure. So we're going to have to go to a game together.
All right.
I love it, Tony. Thank you so much for your time shooting from your gorgeous kitchen in Las Vegas. Everybody, please check out Tony's books that he already published, but then look out for his new one that's coming. And we're going to open the brass rail together and do a great show in the future. Thanks for tuning in with Joey at Sippin and Sellin and Tony over there in Las Vegas. Appreciate your time again, Tony.
Oh, Joey, it's been a pleasure.
Cheers. Happiness. Good.